Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of REWILD Motherhood. So the poll was slightly inconclusive in that 50% of people wanted to chat about chronic illness and 50% of you wonderful people wanted to chat about what I was calling blooming, which is, kind of growing where you're planted and not trying to fight the tide or the current and celebrate where you're at in life. And so I've decided in some hilarious way, and I'm not sure quite how yet, to tie them both together because that's what I'm going to do. So I think I'm going to jump in with why I wanted to start with chronic illness. If you see this sweet scar right there, I had my thyroid removed 2 years ago after suffering from Graves' disease, and suffering feels a little intense, but it super sucked. And then I had my thyroid removed, and since then it's been kind of a never-ending up and down with feeling rad and then feeling super terrible and then feeling super great, and fluctuations in all areas of my life, from mood to weight to headaches, and it could go on. And so I'm not going to do that because I'm not here to complain. But if you ever want to hear me complain, I can go into it a little more. And it's been super, super hard in that I have grown to expect my body to perform a certain way. So 3 weeks ago, I was running 45 miles a week and I was feeling amazing. And then last week, out of nowhere, my headaches came back super, super bad, and I was feeling really tired and I couldn't get out of bed, and running was crazy hard. My pace dropped by 3 minutes. I was what is wrong with me? And it turned out that my thyroid levels were off and a couple other things, and I was super frustrated. I was why is my body, betraying me or whatever? And it got me thinking about how frustrated it was, I was, because I'd see these other people doing all these things. I'm why can't I be that person, or why can't I do these things? And this is the tie-in right here. I had a moment where I was well, you can't change those things, and you kind of just have to bloom where you're planted or grow from where you're at with it. And I was really, really struggling with this because I was I have this expectation of what I want and where I want to be and what I want to do. And sometimes it's just not met, and sometimes that's super frustrating. And I feel that happens with a lot of different things in life, in so much as that you can't control all of your circumstances. And one of the biggest ones for me has been my health, and learning to manage it and learning to accept the times that it's not where I want it to be has been a really hard journey. And learning to be gentler to myself and to not berate myself or push myself when it's not working. I was talking to my good friend Katie today on the phone, and we had a brief conversation about how she injured her calf, and she was telling me how hard it was to not be able to work out and how frustrating it was. And she was saying, what a big deal feeling limited by your body is. And it really got me thinking about that as a topic, and how genuinely true that is, and how frustrating it is to feel like you are somewhere that you shouldn't be, that you've put in all the hours or you've put in all the energy, and your body isn't doing what you want it to do. And for a long time, instead of being gentle, where are you going? Say hi. Where are you? Hi. She's making me flour soup. But to be gentler with myself about it, sometimes I feel I would punish myself. I would run harder, I would run faster, and I'd get home in a cold sweat, and I'd have this headache that I couldn't shake. And I would say to myself, well, it's your failing. You are not doing something, and that is why this run is harder. Someone says hi, Lena, which is fun. Hi, Rue. And I would push my body to the point of illness and exhaustion. I ended up hospitalized a couple months ago because I was going through some stuff, and I wouldn't stop pushing myself because I felt maybe if I just tried a little harder, maybe if I just could be a little different, then it would be fine. And it wasn't. And learning to take the highs and take the lows has been a really powerful journey. And I'm sure there are so many people out there who deal with various forms of chronic illness or pain and can relate on like a really deep level with the fact that even at your best, for me at least, in the back of my mind, I'm like, what will happen next time I'm at my worst? Like, I'm really excited. I'm doing this amazing hike with Freedom Hikers in August, and I'm so excited, and I've been training like really hard so that like I can actually do a great job, and it's been a huge motivator for me. And in the back of my head is this fear. I'm like, what if I have a thyroid thing? Like, what if it's a flare-up? What if my levels are off when I'm doing this? Like, what if I let people down? What?
Can I watch this is?
Yeah, in a little bit.
Oh.
And so
Hello.
Okay, can I finish talking? Thank you.
Hello.
And so it's been really hard
Hello.
to find, to find that balance between like, Lena, please let me finish. To find that balance between trusting that my body will do the things I need and trying to accept that maybe they won't. And so, you're fine. You can say hi in a minute. Oh my gosh, this one is rapidly going downhill. But I guess that kind of leads me back to the like growing where you're planted. Like, this is my situation and this is my life, and it's not like a sob story, and I don't need to feel sorry for myself, which is definitely something that apparently I'm like shockingly good at, which I'm not proud of. And it's like that with a lot of things in life. I think like the controllable circumstances are often significantly smaller than those that are out of your control. And by learning to embrace the things that you can't fix or the things that you can't change, okay, come right there, you kind of have an easier time moving through those things. Like when Lena's yelling hi to you, Rue, you kind of are able to work through them better. I felt like when I agreed to do this hike, for example, in Utah, I was like, I can't do it, because what if my body doesn't do the things I want it to do? Or, what if I don't feel good? Or what if, a million what ifs? And then I thought to myself, like, you can, and if something comes up, you'll deal with it then, and you can't change those things. And I feel like my point is getting super muddled because of my tiny sidekick right now. But the long story short, I guess, is that while like chronic illness is kind of a bitch, it's not unmanageable. And by being gentler with yourself, I think like all things in life, you are able to maneuver the hard things a lot better. And it's just like hiking with kids or trying to do these ridiculous videos. By resetting expectations and accepting limitations, things will turn out a whole lot better than if you never were able to maybe modify what you think you need and what you're capable of. Because it's not a loss when maybe you can't do the things you want to do, and you're no better or worse for those things. So despite this episode being like an absolute total shit show, I hope that anyone who's watching can kind of resonate with the fact of feeling slightly powerless over their body when they have chronic illness, and slightly powerless over certain situations, and learning to be gentler with yourself, which I think is a lesson outside of this in particular and just in general, is learning to be kinder to yourself. So long story short, my house is a circus and my daughter is a wackadoodle, and I hope that the point wasn't completely lost today. So hopefully next week we will have Shanti from Hike It Baby on the show. If you didn't see my post, that video was lost in the ether. And if not Shanti, then we will do some chatting with hopefully some people on Freedom Hikers. And if not that, then I guess I'll figure it out. So thanks for tuning in. This one was an absolute shit show, but see you next week. Say bye. Bye.